Hello YouTube, back once again with my film reviews, and tonight I saw the new horror movie Insidious Chapter 3. Ooh. And let's talk about it. First let me say what I thought of the first two Insidious films. First one, thought it was a great horror movie. I thought it was a great new tribute to the whole haunted house genre. Loved how it mainly just relied on creepy imagery versus jump scares. Great to see some intelligent characters. It was just a really great horror movie all around. Sequel, I'm with most people on this one. I thought it was pretty crappy. It really did feel like, considering it only came out a month within I think only like a month after The Conjuring, it really did feel like some Hollywood executive just told James Wan, you're not allowed to make The Conjuring unless you make a sequel to Insidious, and like James Wan was just like, okay, I'll make a sequel to Insidious, and while I'm doing that, and then right after I'm done shooting that over a few weeks, I'll go make my passion project with The Conjuring. It really did feel like that, like he just phoned it in for it. And I don't blame him, because The Conjuring was actually a really great horror movie. But here we are with the third one, Insidious Chapter 3. James Wan did not have anything to do with this except he was a producer. I think that's his only credit on this film. And yeah, I'll talk about it. The plot of this film is it takes place before the first two Insidiouses. And what happens is it's about a 18-something-year-old girl named Quinn, who she starts just thinking that the spirit of her dead mother is trying to communicate with her, so she seeks out a psychic who ends up being Elise, Lynn Shay from the first two Insidious films, but when she finds Lynn Shay, she is very much just a shut-in who doesn't want to acknowledge, she's basically just says, I'm done with, the whole, communicating with the dead thing. I'm done with my old psychic stuff, just not part of, don't want to do it anymore. But then it turns out, as you probably could expect for the fact this is an Insidious movie, it turns out that the spirit is that Quinn thinks is her mother is not her mother, but a demonic force. Quinn gets into a car accident, She breaks both her legs, and then the demon uses this as a chance for the moments when she's in a coma to latch itself onto her to start terrorizing her as it goes. And then Insidious films. So that's the plot of this film. Let's talk about it. Well, first let's talk about the good in this movie. First let's talk about the leads. Stephanie Scott as the girl Quinn. She was really good. Yeah, she was a really good lead. I think this was her first thing, and I've never seen her in anything else. I thought she was a really good young actress, and I really hope she gets more work after this, because she did give it her all. In every sense of the word, she was really likable. You were never 1 minute rooting for this character to die. You were always oh, please make it out of this. Her acting was good. She did a lot of screaming in this film, but fair enough. Most of the film is her just basically with two broken legs lying on a bed as a demon terrorizes her, so she's alive. How else would you really react to that? And she did really just throw herself into the role. I think she just said she did all her own stunt work, and there's an amazing just scene when she breaks the cast off her legs, and that was so great, and such a great physical piece of acting. And so she was a great lead, likable, tried her hardest. She never annoying. I would say with the past two horror movies I saw, since the past two have had female leads, God, this has been quite the year for female leads in horror movies. I would say she was better than Shelley Henning in Unfriended, but I wouldn't say she was as good as Micah Monroe from It Follows. So somewhere in the middle between those two. So there's her, and then there's the other lead, the one that kind of connects this to the Insidious film franchise, with Lynn Shay as Elise, returning as Elise. She was just as good and just as likable as she was from the first two. Just everything good people said about her in the first two is true here. She just did great physical work, she basically just had to pretend in some sense things were attacking her when in the shot nothing was on her, and always likable, always kind. My God, in this film she actually travels to the demon world, and when she goes there, it is amazing the amount of ass she kicks when she's in that the demon ghost world, and the fact she's 71 years old, and there's just scenes when like these demonic forces are trying to kill her, and she just punches it, like just headbutts it, like it is just, and she just like, yeah, you want some more? I was like, that is the most amazing thing I think I've seen a horror movie all year, any horror movie all year. That was just amazing, seeing a 71-year-old woman do that while looking completely reasonable. Freaking amazing. That was great. Okay, so the main two leads, both really likable. You definitely were wanting to see them get through this, but you kind of knew they were gonna get through this, considering the fact this was a prequel. The plot was also the plot was actually interesting. It's actually a good plot because the plot isn't really mainly about the character Quinn being haunted and starting to get like possessed by this demon force. It's actually more of like this like kind of like dark plot of like Lin Shaye Elise just like basically just like going like her transformation from basically just being like a sad shut-in, like basically just like in complete like almost depression and just can't like remorse over her husband's death and just saying like I'm done, and like fearing the like demon world, and just saying like I'm not doing the psychic anything for, to the point. And it's interesting because you know that, well, like in the first one, she's the super helpful, super kind, super awesome, like all head in the game Ghostbuster demon lady, and so it's just interesting. And actually, it was actually a nice, a pretty good character arc considering for a film like this. There was actually a really nice character arc in the plot from seeing Lin Shaye go from like basically the shut-in to like the hero Ghostbuster, like just kicking ass in the demon world. Yeah, the plot was actually really good, and as a prequel, like this touches they did to make this like come off as a prequel were actually pretty nice. Also, like I love the fact that it basically ends with her getting her ghost busting squad. I thought that was great. That made me smile, especially. I love the small little touches, like when they're just, like when you first see the ghost busting squad from like the rest of her ghost busting squad from the first two movies. Like there's just like they're basically like just super nerds. Like one of them's wearing like a He-Man shirt, and then like when they're just walking away, and she's just like, "Well, guys, how about we all just go into the business with each other?" Like, yeah, let's do it. And then she's just like, "I think you guys should change your attire, maybe like a shirt and tie." That made me laugh. So it was some nice little pieces of connectivity for as a prequel. Other goods. The setup of this film was actually pretty terrifying. Just on the grounds that, like I said, Stephanie Scott Quinn, just the fact that her legs were broken for a majority of this film, like when the demons really started haunting her, like that made it really creepy. For the fact she just could not run away from the demon, she could not barely move. Both her legs were just shattered, and she just could not do anything. So, also definitely gave a very dark sense of vulnerability and fear for this character. Like I was really like terrified for her in a few scenes. So, that was a great idea for a setup for the fact that she just basically couldn't move. Some of the shots in this film were actually really creepy and really effective, mainly for the POV shots. Like there's a few scenes when they go into POV for one thing to another. There's one scene where a character's actually looking, probably the best is there's like a scene like when like character's actually looking at a screen of a camera, he palm off the characters, and you're just seeing that character's POV, and it's just so creepy, because you're just wondering, like, how is this, like, where are they? Like, they're trying to start finding them. It's, like, such a really creepy scene as they're trying to, like, figure out with the camera the camera they're holding, like, where the other camera is. So, it's really good, some really good creepy POV shots. Another good thing about this film was, the characters actually made sense in this movie. Like, the characters actually made sense on the grounds that, like the main character, like Quinn's father, he was just like, at first he just thought like, okay, there's clearly something going on here. Like, I think it's just a creepy stalker guy, because like he just finds like dark footprints. They saw like a crack, and he was like, okay, there's something going on here. There's something, but he's not thinking like, okay, it has to be a ghost. Like, no, but then like this scene, like when his daughter is basically being like dragged out a window by like an invisible force. He's like, okay, there's ghosts out there. Okay, well, Lin Shaye, wanna come help us like do some ghost busting here? And and so I like that. I always like when you see characters that make sense in horror movies. So yeah, that's the good of the movies, the goods of the movie. Let's talk about the bad though. The number one issue with this movie is there's too many jump scares. Just so many jump scares. It's just non-stop. Like, nothing gets me angrier, like, in a horror movie than just doing the bang orchestra sting anytime something, like, something scary shows up out of nowhere. I'm just like, it's just annoying. It's not scary. It's annoying. You're not afraid of the demon thing. You're afraid of the loud orchestra sting going off because it's basically the equivalent of someone just yelling into your ear. You're gonna jump because it's someone just instantly out of nowhere yelling into your ear. And it's a really huge issue because the film, I would say, the majority of scares are jump scares, and that is a big issue. And it's such a shame because, like, the first Insidious, like, didn't rely on jump scares that much. Like, someone, like, the scariest scenes, like, weren't jump scares. Like, one of the scariest, like, I forget, like, there was the scene, like, when you just saw, like, one of the characters walking down the hall when you just saw, like, a ghost in the back. Well, I always love those shots from, like, these movies. Like, anytime, like, you'll just see a character in frame and then you'll just see, like, a ghost in the back and the camera does not focus on it. There are a few of those in this movie, but they're really short shots. And, like, you could have held this shot for a while. It would have been really scary the more and more audience that knows the ghost in the background. But yeah, no, like, in the first one, though, like, how there was, like, that wonderfully horrifying scene, like, when, like, one of the characters would just, like, walking, and you can just see, like, in the like side, like, of the camera, you can see, like, another ghost, like, happily dancing, like, I think it was, like, tiptoe through the tulips or something like that. That was really scary. This movie, though, is just mainly just bang bang orchestra sings. I hate that. Huge. So that is a very, very large issue for a horror movie when it's just mainly relying on jump scares, because then I'm not scared of the movie, I'm afraid of the orchestra sting, so that's a big issue. Another issue was the main demon's design wasn't that creepy. Like, compared to the, like, devil guy from the first one, like, I always love the design of the devil guy. How he kind of just look like a person with just kind of, like, creepy face makeup on. Like, I thought that, like, the simplicity of it actually did help make the thing look creepier. Like, it is just, like, maybe, like, just, like, an insane man, just, like, with that makeup in the first one. The design in this, it's very CGI, very, just kind of dull design. I'm just kind of like, I don't care. It wasn't that. The demon in this film was not that scary to look at. And finally, the last issue with this film was the ending. And, well, first, this isn't the huge issue, but, like, because you kind of knew it was building up to it. Like, the ending of this movie is basically the ending of the climax of this movie is basically the climax from the first one, just, like, they go into the demon world to go save the character who's, like, possessed by the demon, and they do it. There you go. Like, but like I said, I kind of forgive it just for the fact it was awesome seeing Lin Shaye do it in this film, instead Patrick Wilson. That's the guy from the first one, right? Patrick Wilson. I may be wrong. Don't quote me on that. And so the climax, just now going in, climax is basically the climax from the first one. So be aware. But the ending of this movie, when I mean the ending, I mean the very ending, because the movie ends on a jump scare, and my only thought was, why? Why, movie? Like, haven't we finally established, when will the Hollywood executives get this through their head that people don't like jump scare endings? Everyone was talking about how they were applauding The Conjuring, like, when it came out, for the fact it didn't end on a jump scare. It just ended with, like, you looking to that circular box, it ended, cut to black. That's your movie. And everyone just said that was brilliant. There was no jump scare that just took you right out of it. This movie ends on a jump scare that just takes you right out of it. Because this is how it ends. It just ends. Stephanie Scott, Quinn is saved, and Lin Shaye, at least, she has her ghost busting squad going to the ghost busting business, and it ends with her just going to bed, like, happily, just knowing that she saves someone, but then if you see behind, you see, like, this face, like, this really creepy, like, spooky, like, ghost face, like, the way the ghost looked in the Insidious films. I was like, wow, that's a really creepy shot. You could just end it right there, and that could have been it. But then, no, so then, but then she looks down and she knows it. It's like, yeah, okay, you can just end with her, like, kind of like getting scared. But then no, it ends with a loud orchestra bang, and right behind her, the face of nothing else but the devil guy from the first movie shows up, and my only thought was, how does that make sense? I mean, it's supposed to be she has not met the family from the first film yet, first two movies yet. Why would the devil guy be there then? Like, the devil guy was harassing those people. Like, why is it harassing her at this moment? I'm just like, just comes out of nowhere, and it just felt like really bad fan service. Like, I was like, you didn't need that movie. You did a good subtle job at making this a prequel to the first two films. But no, it ended like on this really loud bang orchestra sting jump scare ending with a really nonsensical piece of fan service. Cuts to black. That's your movie. I was just like, you did it. Why can you just cut a minute earlier movie? You didn't need that because it really just took you right out of it. But and that's my thought of the movie. For a final rating, I'll give Insidious Chapter 3 a solid 3 out of 5. It is a decent, perfectly watchable horror movie. You can do way worse than this movie. There are legitimate spook scares. There are legitimate horror. Problem this, and I would say, as far as the films go, I would say this is miles better than the second one. Not as good as the first one. I would put that. It's definitely way. I think the second one is pretty crappy, so it's way better than the first one. But I mean, sorry, it's way better than the second one, but definitely not as good as the first one. So take that for what you will. YouTube, as always, please subscribe, and I will see you next time. Okay, bye.